team we think is probably going to finish last, we do have the Cincinnati Bengals. I think they're going to look a little bit more competent than last year, but I still think they have some serious issues with the overall team here. Just quick overview. What do we think of the Bengals kind of fantasy-wise? Is there anything that stands out to you guys?
I mean, obviously A.J. Green. The only other things that I had written down to talk about were Joe Mixon and Tyler Eifert.
Joe Mixon, it's hard to argue that Joe Mixon is going to be fantastic this year because advanced metrics really fucking hated him. He had one good thing. Yeah, it's like his 1.4, it's 1.54 yards per carry. Yards created per carry is the only top thing he did, and that was 13th in the league last year.
It was,
but I still love him.
I will give you this, though. He was over 4 yards a carry in 5 of his last 6 games. When you look at the second half of his season, it didn't hate him. He was actually okay. He started off slow. The learning curve was there. The offensive line was terrible. So, advanced metrics, nothing loved him the first part of the season.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to skew those numbers.
First contact for Joe Mixon was it was closer to the line of scrimmage than any other running back with at least 100 carries. So he was getting hit early, and he still broke a bunch of tackles. So, I mean, there's definitely something there, and the fact that they signed Cordy Glenn and drafted Billy Price is interesting too. I'm a little higher on this team than I think most are. It's kind of a sleeper team for me.
I'm kind of the same way now after doing some deep diving because I think Dalton's going to have a positive regression, at least back to more of his norms. He also posted a 5.0 touchdown rate, which I think was the 4th time in his career, but he had a 2.4 interception rate. But in terms of his 16-game career lows, it was all lows in completion percentage, and yards. I think you'll see with the better offensive line, with hopefully more consistent offensive play calling instead of changing offensive coordinators 2 games into the season, Dalton may actually be more of a mid-end streamer instead of the avoid at all costs.
Yeah, I also think that Mixon sees more than 12.7 carries a game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which will help Dalton.
Yeah. So where do you got Mixon in your ranking since we've been talking about him here?
12.
Ooh.
He's 301 right now in ADP and PPR leagues.
15.
I got him at 14.
I am at 15 as well.
So it looks like we all like him as high running back 2, low running back 1 range. I would not be shocked at all if he does slip in as a low end RB1 this year. I think he's got the talent, and this team, I think, is fixing some of the issues that'll help him have a good season here. For me, the bigger issue with the Bengals is just general coaching and scheme and some other things like that. But I think they can feed a running back.
Yeah, I think so too. And then Tyler Eifert is Jordan Reed.
Okay, we'll get to his back in a moment.
Yeah.
What do you think about Gio?
If Mixon wasn't a good pass catcher, I'd be more excited. But
Gio
Gio struggled last year against light fronts, which he saw, I think, 62% of the time.
It's interesting because any other team
63.
that has the issues the Bengals had, at least last year, would have found a way to get Gio the ball in space, and it didn't seem like they made an effort to do that. Yeah, this is a guy who you can motion out of the backfield, and he's an immediate mismatch on a linebacker. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how they use him if Cincinnati evolves at all offensively. And if so, he could definitely be in line for a decent year. But if they use him the same way they did last year, I don't know that I'm too high on him either.
Yeah, I mean, he was 42nd in points per game last year, and that was including a few blow-up weeks when Mixon was hurt. So I've got him 45th in my rankings. It's kind of a fringe.
He's my 46.
Flex type play.
His ADP is 11-12.
That's about right.
Yeah.
All right. So Dalton, where do you guys have him in your rankings before we go to the wide receivers?
25.
76.
I'm at 23.
Yeah, 25.
28, actually.
25 as well, just because, and as we're going to talk about in a moment here, I only like one of his weapons that I can count on to stay healthy, and that's A.J. Green. The rest
Even
of his
Green you really can't count on sometimes. He tends to miss
I
games
have one of
every
his
now and then.
weapons I can count on to be productive. Well, 2 if they're healthy. Tyler Eifert.
Yeah, as we've
Tyler Kroft is...
He's a guy.
He did okay with Eifert gone.
He caught a few touchdowns.
Got 7 of them.
He wasn't fantastic. Tyler Kroft gets a lot of cachet because Tyler Eifert's always hurt, and you're like, well, he's going to be the guy, but that... So...
I mean, he
was Brandon
7 touchdowns last
year. So was
year.
Brandon LaFell. And unless A.J. Green's hurt and the Brandon LaFell rule's invoked.
All right. Let's get to A.J. Green and Brandon LaFell here.
Why Brandon LaFell? Green we'll talk about.
I don't want to talk about any of them.
What do you guys think of A.J. Green?
I think he's value right now at 208.
I think you draft him, and that's the only person you draft here.
Yeah.
You draft him.
From the wide receiver core. You draft A.J. Green.
All right, and then
Take him, and that's it.
And then I put on Brandon LaFell. He needs multiple injuries to invoke the Brandon LaFell rule on him this year.
He does, and John Ross is terrible, and Tyler Boyd is something.
He ruins
and
Ravens' dreams, as all Tyler Boyd does.
Josh Malone flashed a little bit.
So he's a dynasty dart throw, and that's it.
Yeah.
All right, Tyler Eifert, as you mentioned, he's always hurt. If he's healthy, I would have him as a great dart throw, but...
Oh, yeah, he's double-digit touchdowns and 600 yards if he's healthy.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
And that's when he only plays for 13 games.
All right.
Yeah.
He likes him so much his voice is cracking.
I think
A
he's also...
season is 13 games.
We're also
Tyler.
sweating our ass off.
I think he's overheating, too. We may
Yeah.
need to get Hopper another beer. All right. I think that puts a bow on the Bengals here. I think this team's not going to be very cohesive. I think they're going to flash, and they're going to start trending in the right direction, but I'm not sure Dalton is long-term answer. And the only two players I really trust is Mixon and Green.